So I'm starting to think that comfort is the real trap because your comfort zone is what you're used to. And for a lot of people, it's all they know because the thought of doing something a little bit different either overwhelms them, it scares them. But the crazy thing about it is the comfort zone that you refuse to leave is the very place that's causing you all of the misery, the depression, the anxiety, the stress, the paycheck to paycheck lifestyle. But you don't want to leave that because that's all you know. You couldn't even begin to fathom a life where you're not stressing about bills, where you get to travel whenever you want and not have to check the bank account first, where you get to live life on your terms and you're running your own business, doing what it is that you love to do. You can't even imagine a life where you're not overweight, where your joints don't hurt, where you're not sweating profusely, walking up one flight of stairs because you refuse to leave the comfort zone. And your comfort zone is the trap. And I've been there. I've done that. If you've been following me for a while, then you already know a lot about my transformation. I used to be 340 pounds. I had high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes. I was pre-diabetic. I had high cholesterol. I had a 9 to 5 that I absolutely hated. I was depressed and miserable. Oh gosh, I was so insecure. I hated my life. I was just a miserable soul for years. Like my 20s, child, your girl was miserable as hell. And I had tried to do something different, right? Like I would try to start business ideas, but the minute it forced me to step out of my comfort zone. So instead of spending time watching Netflix, I have to spend time working on this business idea that I had. I would automatically revert back to comfort because that's all I know, even though that very comfort was keeping me stressed. I had tried to lose weight for years. I had lost 100 pounds. And before I lost it this go around, 3 years ago, I had yo-yo dieted for years, right? I would start off strong. I might have lost 10 pounds or 20 pounds. And then what would happen? I would find myself slipping back into my old ways and then gaining all the weight back that I lost and then some. So I would lose 20, gain 40. I would lose 10, gain 30. And I did that time and time again because the minute I had to do something a little bit different, like resist a craving, not go to Chick-fil-A, stop binge eating Ben and Jerry's ice cream. The minute I had to do something outside of the comfort zone, that's when I would revert back to my old ways, even though my old ways were the reason why I was miserable. The reason why I had joint pain was because I'm carrying 340 pounds. The reason why I had back pain was because I was carrying 340 pounds. And that's the trap that I think a lot of people are stuck in. Like there's so many people online who want to start businesses and I'm here for it. Like if you're not new to the channel, you already know. Like I tell y'all damn near every day, whether you catch me on live, whether you watch my YouTube videos, start creating the content. You can monetize anything, monetize your story, like whatever. And people are ready, right? They're like, yeah, let's do it. I'm going to start today, yada, yada, yada. But the minute it requires you to come home from work and not watch TV, but instead work on content. Now it's, oh, no, never mind. Just kidding. Because Housewives of Potomac is just so important to me and I cannot miss tonight's episode. No, I cannot work on this content because that's going to cut into my time on watching Love Island. And it's just like, wow, it's crazy that we do these things to ourselves because this thing that we're doing to ourselves is the reason why we're miserable in the first place. The reason why you're depressed is because you're not doing things in your life that make you happy. Let me ask you, when was the last time you did something that genuinely brought joy to your spirit? I feel like there's crickets in the room because so many people can't answer that. They don't even know. And that's literally their life. Their life, like every single day, it's nothing around what they love to do. They don't include their hobbies or their interests in their regular day to day. They don't do anything for themselves. They don't exercise. They don't eat fruits and vegetables. They don't work on the business that they've had, that they've wanted to work on for the past 10 years. It's your day is just filled with a whole bunch of things that do not fulfill you at all. But yet, even though that's your comfort, that's what you're used to, and that's the very thing that's making you miserable, you refuse to change it. You get in this cycle, and I don't think you're consciously aware. It's something that you do have to break out of. Like, I didn't know that that's what I was doing to myself years ago. But once it's been brought to your attention, the question becomes, what are you going to do about it? Because every single day you have a choice. I'm a firm believer on choices. You always have a choice. Nothing is set in stone. You're not trapped. I don't do trap mindsets on my channels. Like, we're not in victimhood. Okay, that we are empowered. We are working towards becoming our highest version. We're not going to sit in pity parties and woe is me type of energy. Like, absolutely not. Every day you have a choice. And a lot of you guys choose to scroll social media all day. You would rather watch someone else's life than live the life of your dreams. You would rather count somebody else's pockets instead of counting your own. You would rather live vicariously through somebody else. You would rather escape reality and watch your favorite celebrities and all of the drama that they got going on. And that's the trap. That's the trap. You would rather continue living paycheck to paycheck at a job that doesn't even pay you enough, overworks you and underpays you, than to start the business that you've been wanting to start for years. You would rather come home and just sit on the couch because you're so tired than work on something for you. And that decision that you make every single day is exactly why you feel the way you feel. And I had to ask myself, like, Jazz, how long are we going to keep doing this? Because this isn't working out. I'm not happy here. Like, I'm crying every day. I'm miserable. I'm insecure. I hate my life. What are we doing? Why do I continue to make this choice every single day? And you know what's crazy? Now that my day is filled with things that I truly enjoy doing, things that fulfill me, I have more peace in my life now than I ever had in my entire life. Like, I don't wake up with anxiety. I'm not randomly crying. When my alarm goes off, I'm up, I'm ready to start the day. I look way better today than I've had my entire life. Like, I'm 35, but I look better now physically than I did than when I was in my 20s. Why? Because for the first time in my life, I decided to get out of my comfort zone. I decided to do what made me happy and not worry about what people think. I decided to be brave and start my own business. I decided that I have a choice, and every single day I can choose to do what I've been doing, which is a whole bunch of nothing, or I can choose to do something different. And I chose to do something different, and I haven't looked back since. You guys, the 9 to 5 that I used to have, like, I talk about it because I know I have a lot of new viewers, so they don't know the story for real, but that 9 to 5, I used to, I'm blessed that I experienced it. I was there for 6 years. And I think that was probably one of the best things that happened to me, or happened for me, I should say, because if I was not as miserable there as I was, I don't think I would have had the push to do something different. I used to go to that job every day and cry. I would sit in my car and cry before I even went inside to clock in. I used to sit in my car on my lunch break. I literally used to count down the hours until I had to clock out. And see, I was stuck there. I'm putting air quotes on stuck because you're never stuck. But back then, I felt like I was stuck there because they were paying me decently. So I was making $60,000 a year. And back then, I started that job, I was 23. So, that's more money than I had ever made my entire life. And I didn't have any kids. So, I thought I was going to live like an upper middle class lifestyle. That's what I thought, right? Because I was used to jobs at McDonald's and like Chick-fil-A. I used to work like fast food stuff. So when I got that job, I was like, oh shit, like I'm about to be rich as fuck. Like that's really what I thought. And so I felt like I was quote unquote stuck there because that was the highest paying job I had. And I came from fast food. And if you've worked fast food, child, them fast food jobs are no joke. Like I noticed in my work history, the less they pay you, the harder you work. I can't make this up physically. The less they pay you, the more physical labor you have to do. I feel like I did more physical labor working at McDonald's than I did at that 9 to 5 that I hated. And so that was the reference point. So anytime I thought about quitting my 9 to 5, I was like, oh God, that means I'm going to be back in the McDonald's drive-thru sweating, getting people sweet teas, getting cursed out because they wanted their French fries fresh. Like that's what my mind would go to. It was like PTSD. So I would justify staying at this 9 to 5 that I absolutely hated because it wasn't physically strenuous. I sat down all day and they were paying me $60,000 a year. So I justified the comfort, but that exact comfort was what was making me depressed. I hated it there. I was miserable. I was absolutely miserable. I justified staying because I got weekends off. I had holidays. I got off at 5, right? But I was miserable. It was killing me, like literally, because I was so upset. I was so stressed. I was so stressed. But that comfort zone is the trap. That's the trap. That right there. And so year after year after year, I was there for 6 years. I got comfortable with crying every day. I got comfortable with being stressed about bills every day. My manager, my supervisor, she used to curse at me. Like it, and I reflected back on that job. I was like, well, maybe it was me. Like, I was young. I had like an effort type of mindset. I had an attitude. Like, I'm not sitting here saying that I was the perfect employee, right? But there were a lot of things that were still extremely unacceptable. Like she used to curse at me. Like she would put her finger in my face and curse at me. Like I'm not even bullshitting. And it's like I dealt with that. I put up with that because in my mind at the time, that toxicity was better than going back and working at Wendy's. That toxicity was better than, God forbid, having to work a holiday. It doesn't even make any sense. These comfort zones are literally destroying our mental health. You see it every day. Ask yourself, how do you feel? Just ask yourself that question. How do you feel? How do you feel about you? How do you feel about you? How do you feel about your day? If you had to rate your day on a scale of 1 to 10, your average day, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best day of your entire life, on average, where would it fall? Where would it fall? And that's information enough. That's all information you need. It's obvious what you should be doing. But yet, you are trapped in that zone of comfort. When I was trying to lose weight, like I said, for years, yo-yo dieting, lose 20, gain 30, right? And it's like, the minute I had to try to resist a craving, I wouldn't. I would revert back to my comfort zone. Oh, I want something sweet. Let me go get something sweet. Even though the very thing, the sweets that I was addicted to, was raising my blood sugar. The sweets that I refused to let go of was making me obese. The sweets that I refused to let go of was making me hate the way I looked. But because I'm so comfortable with being obese, because I'm so comfortable with hating my body, I stayed in that comfort zone because the minute I had to put the fork down, right, and eat less, God forbid I got to eat a banana or, some type of fruit, an apple, an orange, some blueberries, right? I'm checking out. Even though I hate my current state, even though I'm not happy in this predicament. It's crazy. And then the things that we justify, I say, oh, it's not that bad being overweight. Yeah, it's okay. Body positivity, right? Love your body in all shapes and sizes. Men love a plus size woman. Okay, but let me ask myself, how did I feel about myself? Do I really like the way I look? Do I truly enjoy the way I feel? Let's just stop the cap. The answer was hell no. No, 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 no. I did not like the way I looked, and I did not like the way I felt. Being too winded to walk up one flight of stairs, come on. And I was a Division I athlete. That's the crazy thing. It'd be different if I was obese my entire life, then I wouldn't have had anything to compare it to, right? But I used to play Division I basketball, so I know how I felt when I was in shape, right? I know how I felt. And now here I am 8 plus years later, and I'm struggling to get up one flight of steps, to the point I'm sweating and I'm breathing heavy and my knees hurt all from one flight of stairs. Come on. No, 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 no. I had to stop lying to myself. I was not happy. I was miserable. I hated it. I hated it. And like I said, I would try to convince myself, oh, it's not that bad. I'm just getting older. Everybody struggles to get up one flight of stairs. Even if that was true, even if everybody struggled to get up one flight of stairs, let's just say that was true. That doesn't make it okay. That doesn't make it okay. But the excuses and the way we try to justify the crap that we're doing, it's mind-boggling. All because we are trapped in comfort. Even though that comfort that you're trapped in is mentally destroying you. Life is meant to be lived. And for a lot of us, I used to be the same way. It's we're really just trying to survive. It's crazy because now that I have a different mindset, now that I live a different life, some of the conversations that I've had with people that, enter into my life now that I'm, at a leveled up version of myself, it's some people are really just out here trying to survive. They're just trying to make it through the day. If you were to ask somebody, oh, what are your plans? What are your goals? They didn't even think that far. They haven't thought that far. They don't know. They're just trying to they're just trying to get through the payday. Seriously, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm being dead ass serious. If you were to ask somebody oh, did you start work? Let's say, cause I go to the gym, right? And so I used to meet a lot of people who would come up to me because I used to make a lot of fitness content. So I'd have that big ass camera, and the camera itself is distracting. It just draws attention because it's a very bulky camera. The camera I'm recording on right now, right? It's a Sony. And so that within itself would just draw attention. And I got the big ass tripod. So people would come up to me and they'd be like, oh, I want to make content, asking me questions, how'd I get started? How'd I get the confidence? Yada, 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 right? So let's say we had a conversation, we chopped it up. Next time I see them, could have been a couple weeks later, right? And I'll just check in. I'll be like, hey, did you make the videos? I don't see any content. Because I would always end up following the people that I, interacted with. And I'm I haven't seen you on social. What's up? Are you doing it? No, they're not. And it was, yeah, I gotta do this. Or, yeah, I was going to start, but I had to take care of this. It's so many people don't even get the opportunity, or they believe they don't have the opportunity to make time to do the thing that they know that they really want to do, that they know would make them super happy, all because they're just stuck in this comfort zone. And it's sad. It is so sad because we are getting older. It dawned on me. It was the end of last year, the end of 2025. I've been understood we're getting older, right? I understood that. I don't know what it was about turning 35 where it just hit me. My birthday is October 27th, so it was towards the end of 2025 where it literally just hit me like, yo, I am almost 40. Like it literally just hit me like I am literally high risk pregnancy age. Like it just dawned on me. And ever since that epiphany, I realized like you do not have as much time as you think you do because you don't. My mom had me, she was 32 years old when she had me, okay? She was 32 when she had me. She is now upper 60s. Time just flies by like that, fast, quick, in a hurry. And then you will reflect on all of the things that you could have did, but you chose not to. I really want that to sink in because you see for yourself how fast time moves. Like you see it for yourself. And even though you see it for yourself, it's like you're not connecting the dots. You would still rather stay in a comfort zone that is depressing you, that is making you miserable, that is making you anxious, that is making you insecure, that is keeping you broke, than to just do something different. Absolutely ridiculous. It's mind-boggling. It's crazy. And when you break it down like that, you can hear how absurd it sounds. And people will say, well, I'm just scared. Scared of what? What is more scarier than waking up every day and crying? What is more scarier than waking up every day and being miserable? What is more scarier than stressing out about how you're going to pay your lights before they cut them off? What is more scarier than that? Oh, the opinions of people who don't even pay your bills. Man. And listen, you're talking to someone who has done an extreme amount of work on herself. I am my most leveled up version that I've ever been. So, the more I talk about it, the more ridiculous it sounds. Like it just sounds absolutely ridiculous. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that life is peaches and cream and it's just rainbows and unicorns and I have no problems. That is not true at all. Okay, you're going to always have problems, but the type of problems are different. The type of problems are completely different. Completely different. Like not even close. And it's a gradual change. I think too, sometimes, and myself included, the reason why I would struggle with making changes was because I used to have an all or nothing mindset. It was go hard or go home. Like if I can't spend 10 hours a day, then I just shouldn't do it. And I've had that mindset. I think it was like these past 2 years where I've kind of toned it down. But for the longest time, I had this all or nothing mindset. And so I felt like if I couldn't give it all, then I just shouldn't do it at all, right? And that actually kind of backfired. Sometimes you have to start gradual, grow momentum, and then, now it's like a snowball effect. Like you crawl before you walk before you run. So, if you do want to create content, maybe you do want to start a business. Okay, well, you don't have to go all in yet. Build the confidence, build the momentum. So first start off by just recording one video a week, right? And then do that for several weeks. And then once you become comfortable with that, okay, well, now we got to step out that comfort zone again and up it to 2 times, right? Maybe you want to lose weight and maybe you struggle with gym anxiety. I know a lot of plus size ladies struggle with that. I don't think I really had gym anxiety. And again, that's because I used to play collegiate sports. So, I wasn't a stranger to the weight room, and to the gym. But what I will say is if that is something that you're struggling with, then just start off small. Maybe start working out at the gym in your apartment complex. Maybe start off by doing some at-home workouts. Buy you some dumbbells off of Amazon and start there. Also, get a personal trainer. Like, I'm big on, look, one thing about me, I'm gonna hire somebody to help me. Like, I've been that way for a very long time. I'm worthy of the investment. I know that I don't know everything, and I understand that you waste a lot of time by acting like you know it all when you really don't. And so the only reason why I was able to successfully lose 100 pounds this go around was because I hired a personal trainer. I accepted the fact that I didn't know everything, and I accepted the fact that there was room for improvement, and I decided to invest in myself. And everything that I was doing before was completely wrong. All I did was waste time, because once I hired my personal trainer, he taught me what I needed to know. I'm supposed to be prioritizing weightlifting, not cardio. I should be eating 1,600 calories to lose weight, not 1,200, right? So he really taught me everything that I know today in regards to weight loss and exercise and how to train, what muscle groups to hit and when, how many reps, how do you know something is heavy enough, and that information was gold because I've maintained this weight loss for 3 years. I used to always yo-yo diet. Some people have a lot of ego and they want to be cheap when it comes to developing themselves, but they're not cheap when it comes to ordering off of Fashion Nova. When it's time to spend $100 on Fashion Nova, that makes sense in their head because it allows them to stay in their comfort zone. They get to get a quick dopamine fix, buying a couple of outfits so they can feel cute for the weekend. And then when Monday comes back around, they're still up to the same thing, doing absolutely nothing. But you won't spend $100 to get a personal trainer to help you lose the weight that you know you need to lose so that you can live a longer life. Make it make sense. I don't understand it, but that's the mindset that people have. And so, I'm still going to tell you, like, me paying for a personal trainer, man, that was the best money spent. He's still my personal trainer to this day. Money well spent. He added like 15 years to my life. You can't even put a price tag on that. And I'm not even funny. I told you guys I already had high blood pressure. I was already pre-diabetic. Like, it was just going to get worse. The shit was going to hit the fan, right? So hire a personal trainer. A lot of gyms give you a free session, and then you can just pay them like per session. So you could start with like one time a week. Paying like, I think they charge like $50 or $60 a session, one time a week. That covers your Chipotle for the whole week. like, come on, man, stop. Because you already know you're not happy at your size. You know you need to lose weight. So what are we going to do about it? Are we just going to talk about it? Are we going to spend 2 hours venting on the phone with our best friend? Woe is me. Life is just not fair. I'm not that big. Or are we just going to lock in and lose the weight that we know we need to lose? Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on, ladies, stop it. Stop it, stop it. Stop it. But that comfort zone, it's a trap, man. And the crazy thing is, see, when I was in my 20s, I was not watching or listening to YouTube like I do now. Like, I listen to YouTube when I'm doing my walks, getting my steps in. I listen to YouTube while I'm in the shower or while I'm cleaning up, cooking, whatever. So it's like there's so much more information now than when I was in my 20s. I know YouTube was around, but I was not watching YouTube. I think the only time I would really watch YouTube is if I was trying to buy some hair, like some bundles. So I would, watch some hair reviews to see which company I should order the hair from, right? But that was it. Like, I was not watching level up content, weight loss content. Absolutely not. I told you guys, when I graduated college in 2013, Instagram had just became a thing like a couple years before then. So I feel like there's so much more information now than when I was at my most leveled down self. So I don't know why more people don't lock in, because now there's so many creators telling you what to do. You just make the conscious decision not to. It's mind-boggling. I don't know. I think, if you're trying to figure out how to stay motivated, the life that you're living should be motivation enough. So if you can ask yourself, are you 1000% happy with the direction your life is going in? And the answer is no. Well, then that should be enough motivation for you to get up and do something about it. That should be all the motivation you need, because every day that you choose not to is another day that you could have been living the life that you want. But, the housewives is just so much more important. Doom scrolling on Instagram and watching everyone else's life is just so much more important. Gossiping on the phone with your friends and y'all just take turns talking about your problems is just so much more important than actually fixing the problems that you have. Make it make sense. And you realize in order to change your life, you are going to have to step out of your comfort zone, right? I just want to make sure we're clear on that. Like, you can't stay comfortable and change your life at the same time. That doesn't work. It's not going to happen. You're going to have to make a choice. So, it's your life. Do what you please. But this version of me, who I am today, I'm so proud of myself. I'm so thankful that I did decide to change. Yeah, it was hard. I'm not going to sit here and say it wasn't hard. But I'm happy that I stuck through it, because the life I live today at 35 years old, way better than the life I lived in my earlier adult years. So, I don't know. What do you ladies think? Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.